On the night of October 5, 2025, a chilling silence hung over Ukraine's cities, until it was shattered in an instant. Ukraine was jolted awake by the piercing wail of air raid sirens, echoing through apartment blocks and empty streets alike. In homes across the country, families scrambled for safety, hearts pounding as the familiar dread returned. Russia unleashed a massive, coordinated attack, filling the sky with a deadly swarm of missiles and drones. The night air was alive with the roar of engines and the thunder of distant explosions, as anti-aircraft fire lit up the darkness. This was a calculated assault, meticulously planned to break Ukraine's spirit and cripple its vital infrastructure. Power stations, communication lines, and transport hubs were all in the crosshairs. No region was spared. From Lviv in the west to Zaporizhia in the south, the entire country was under threat. Maps lit up with red, showing the widespread reach of the bombardment. The attacks came in relentless waves, testing Ukraine's air defenses to the brink. Soldiers worked through the night, launching interceptors and tracking incoming threats, determined to protect their cities. Explosions shattered homes and sent families fleeing to shelters. In the chaos, parents clutched their children, seeking refuge underground as buildings trembled above them. Russia targeted energy facilities, plunging neighborhoods into darkness. But residential buildings and civilian areas were also hit, leaving many without shelter or power as the night wore on. The Kremlin claimed military targets, but the reality on the ground was civilian devastation. Streets were littered with debris, and emergency responders rushed to aid the wounded. As dawn broke, emergency crews raced to save lives amid the ruins. Firefighters and medics worked side by side, pulling survivors from the rubble and offering comfort to the traumatized. The air was thick with smoke and grief as the scale of destruction became clear. Survivors wandered through the wreckage, searching for loved ones and salvaging what little remained. This was a deliberate message from Moscow. As winter nears, life in Ukraine will be made unbearable. The threat of cold and darkness loomed, with critical infrastructure in ruins and uncertainty growing. The night of terror ended, but a new, desperate struggle for survival had begun. For millions, the coming days would test their resilience like never before, as they faced the harsh reality of war's aftermath. The October 5 attack was staggering in scale. Russia launched around 500 drones and over 50 missiles. Iranian-made Shahed drones swarmed from all directions, overwhelming air defenses. These drones paved the way for advanced missiles, including nearly unstoppable Kinzhal hypersonics. Air defense crews faced impossible choices, knowing any weapon that slipped through could be catastrophic. Ukraine's defenders shot down 439 drones and 39 missiles, a remarkable feat. Still, some got through, striking at least 20 locations and causing widespread destruction. Debris from intercepted weapons started fires in several regions. The attack spanned nearly a dozen regions, from Lviv to Kherson. Russia's goal was clear: inflict pain across Ukraine, leaving no one safe. The war's reach is now truly nationwide. Behind the numbers are shattered lives. Each statistic hides a story. A family torn apart, a future stolen, a community left to pick up the pieces. The devastation is not just physical, but emotional, echoing through every street and home. At least 5 people were killed, and more than 16 injured, ordinary civilians, not soldiers. These were people simply going about their daily routines, caught in the crossfire of a conflict they never chose. Their lives were cut short in an instant, leaving families and friends to grieve in the aftermath. In Lviv, a family of 4 was wiped out as they slept, their home reduced to rubble in a matter of seconds. The loss is immeasurable, a reminder that war does not discriminate. It destroys indiscriminately, leaving only memories and heartbreak behind. In Zaporizhia, another life was lost, and many more injured as strikes rained down. The chaos and confusion in the aftermath make it nearly impossible for families to find safety or solace. These tragedies rarely make headlines, but they define daily life in Ukraine. For many, the world moves on, but for those living through it, every day is a struggle to survive and to hold on to hope. The psychological toll is immense. Constant fear, sleepless nights, and anxiety haunt millions. Children grow up knowing the sound of sirens better than laughter, and parents worry if their families will see another sunrise. Sirens force families into cold shelters, eroding any sense of normalcy. The simple act of gathering for dinner or sending children to school is now fraught with uncertainty and dread. Essential services were disrupted, public transport halted, schools and businesses closed, leaving communities isolated and children without education or routine. Many were left without power or heat, forced to endure freezing nights and darkened homes, unsure when relief might come. Simple tasks, charging a phone, making a meal, became daily challenges. Every moment is a test of resilience and resourcefulness, as families adapt to a new, harsh reality. The war's impact is felt in every home, not just on the front lines. Even those far from the fighting are forced to rebuild, to comfort loved ones, and to find strength in the face of relentless adversity. The struggle for survival is relentless. Humanitarian aid offers some relief, but the need is overwhelming, and the lines grow longer each day. The pain of loss and the stress of uncertainty are now part of daily life. Grief and worry are constant companions, yet so too is the determination to endure. This is the grim reality Ukrainians endure, a daily battle for survival, dignity, and hope in the face of unimaginable hardship. Lviv, a city in western Ukraine once considered a safe haven, was hit hard on October 5th. For months, its residents believed they were far from the worst of the conflict, living with a sense of relative normalcy, even as war raged in the east. But that sense of security was shattered in a single night. The city and its surrounding region faced one of the largest and most relentless aerial assaults since the war began. Over 140 drones and 23 missiles rained down, lighting up the night sky and sending shockwaves through the community. The illusion of safety, carefully maintained for so long, was instantly and violently broken. Residents who had once felt protected now found themselves in the heart of chaos. In the small village of Lepivka, just outside Lviv, a missile struck a home, killing a family of 4 as they slept. The tragedy underscored the indiscriminate nature of the attack, leaving neighbors and emergency responders in shock and grief. Lviv's industrial park, a symbol of the city's economic resilience, burned for hours. Despite the absence of military targets nearby, the flames consumed businesses and livelihoods, leaving the community reeling. Power outages swept across entire districts, plunging neighborhoods into darkness. Public transport ground to a halt, and the city's vibrant streets became eerily silent. As air raid sirens wailed, streets emptied. People huddled in basements and shelters, clinging to one another and waiting for the danger to pass, their fear palpable in the silence. The attack was a brutal awakening for a city that had come to symbolize hope and resilience for so many. Now, its landmarks stood damaged, and its people gathered in mourning and disbelief. Many had fled to Lviv from other parts of Ukraine, seeking refuge from the violence. But on this night, the war had followed them, turning their sanctuary into another front line. The sense of security that once defined Lviv was torn away, replaced by anxiety and uncertainty. Families watched the news, hoping for reassurance that never came. The psychological wounds run deep. The trauma of that night lingers, as people struggle to come to terms with the new reality of their lives. In Ukraine, no one is truly far from the front line. The war's reach is long, and its impact is felt in every corner of the country. Zaporizhzhia, home to Europe's largest nuclear plant, endured 702 attacks in 24 hours. 18 settlements were hit, leaving 1 dead and at least 10 injured. The main target: energy infrastructure. Over 73,000 lost power. Repair crews worked under fire to restore electricity, risking their lives. The region faces a dual threat: constant shelling and the risk of a humanitarian crisis as winter nears. Attacks on energy facilities are meant to make the region unlivable. The nuclear plant, still under Russian occupation, adds a layer of danger. Shelling near the plant's power lines is reckless, raising fears of disaster. Zaporizhzhia's ordeal is a warning to the world. Their resilience is extraordinary, but the threat is ever present. The October 5th assault marked a renewed Russian campaign to weaponize winter. By targeting energy infrastructure, Moscow aims to plunge Ukraine into darkness and cold. Facilities in Zaporizhzhia, Chernihiv, and others were hit, threatening heating and power. Last winter, similar attacks destroyed nearly half of Ukraine's power capacity. The grid remains fragile, and experts warn Ukraine lacks enough air defenses to protect it all. Major cities may have some protection, but smaller towns are vulnerable. Without more air defenses, daily power outages could return. The lack of heat is life-threatening in Ukraine's harsh winters. Russia's strategy is to create a humanitarian crisis and break Ukraine's will. The fight to keep the lights and heat on is now critical. After the attacks, President Zelensky issued an urgent plea to Ukraine's allies. He called for rapid delivery of air defense systems, stressing that every delay means more lives at risk. Ukraine cannot win this fight alone. It faces a larger aggressor with a vast arsenal. Zelensky proposed a ceasefire in the skies as a step toward diplomacy. He also revealed that Russian missiles and drones contain foreign-made components, highlighting the global nature of the conflict. Zelensky urged stricter controls to cut off these supply chains. More air defense isn't just about military assets, it's about protecting daily life. His message? Help Ukraine build a shield, close the sky, and give its people a future. The world's support is vital for Ukraine's survival. The world took notice as Russia's attack unfolded. Poland scrambled NATO jets, and air defense units were activated, underscoring the war's proximity to Europe. Ukraine and its partners are now accelerating plans for a drone wall, a fortified air defense zone along the EU's eastern border. European leaders warn that drones threaten not just Ukraine, but the continent. The drone wall marks a shift to proactive collective defense. Immediate focus remains on getting more air defenses to Ukraine. The urgency is clear. Ukraine's survival now shapes Europe's security future. The coming weeks will be decisive. Amid destruction, Ukraine's spirit endures. As smoke rose, neighbors cleared rubble and volunteers brought aid. Repair crews restored power, risking their lives. This resilience is Ukraine's true strength. Every act of defiance, every repaired line, every shared meal is a victory. The attacks aim to break Ukraine's will, but instead, resolve grows stronger. The coming winter will test the nation's endurance. International support, air defenses, aid, and solidarity is more critical than ever. Ukraine fights not just for survival, but for freedom and sovereignty. Their courage inspires the world. The world must not let them stand alone.